On the African savanna, even a few fleeting seconds can shape the entire course of an encounter. Instinct, speed, and timing intertwine, where a small misstep can reverse the roles of predator and prey. In an environment that doesn't tolerate hesitation, instantaneous reaction is crucial for survival. But what truly determines the ultimate survivor? Strength, tactics, or the ability to adapt to ever-present danger? Along the rivers, lakes, and swamps of Africa, Nile crocodiles congregate at frequently visited water spots. Murky water conceals movement, gently sloping banks facilitate ambushes, and a dense prey supply maintains survival pressure. Once they leave the water's edge to move on land, their sense of direction diminishes rapidly, making their position vulnerable. As soon as an opportunity arises, a lion observes from a distance on the riverbank. Instead of attacking immediately, it circles, maintaining distance and approaching from the side. When the crocodile exerts force to turn towards the water, the lion accelerates, cutting its path, forcing the crocodile to constantly change direction, gradually losing its ability to maintain orientation. In this disrupted movement, the crocodile turns its body to defend itself, while the lion maintains its position and avoids danger. However, the distance to the water's edge is too great to regain the advantage. After a few moments, the movement slows down and the situation comes to a close. African buffaloes are widely distributed throughout the sub-Saharan savanna, often living in large herds of hundreds in the Serengeti and migrating seasonally. They are found in grasslands, open woodlands, and near water sources. Each buffalo weighs approximately 1,100 to 2,000 pounds, with thick muscles and a very strong neck that provides effective protection against danger. But even a slight misstep in movement quickly diminishes the herd's protection. Taking advantage of this, the lion stays on the edge of the herd, observing from a distance, moving low through the tall grass for cover. When the herd is unaware of the danger, it silently closes the gap. When close enough, it accelerates, cutting across the herd's path, forcing a buffalo to constantly change direction and gradually lose the initiative. The buffalo tries to resist with strong movements but cannot maintain distance. Its resistance diminishes without the herd's support. After just a few seconds of tension, it could no longer move and became food for the lion. In sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in the Okavango Delta, Botswana, African wild dogs live in open environments and move in organized packs, each weighing between 40 and 80 pounds. Their light bodies and long legs allow them to maintain speeds of around 37 miles per hour for extended periods. However, when they stop to rest or lose focus, their coordination is easily disrupted, exposing weaknesses. In a nearby open forest, a lion approached and observed a pack of wild dogs resting under the trees. As their alertness decreased, it changed direction, using the bushes to approach unnoticed. Just as the pack began to disperse, the lion suddenly accelerated, creating a disturbance and quickly isolating a dog at the edge of the formation. The moment the target separated from the pack, the lion immediately took control. The powerful attack injured the wild dog, quickly rendering it immobile. The remaining lions could only keep their distance and send warning signals. Eventually, the lion dragged its prey away from the area. On the savanna grasslands, zebras migrate hundreds of miles seasonally in search of water and grass. Each weighs approximately 500 to 700 pounds and relies on the herd for safety. The ample space allows for early detection, but also makes slower-moving zebras more easily spotted and targeted. On the edge of the grassland, a spotted hyena had been observing the herd beforehand. It circled to avoid attention. Upon spotting a zebra slowing down and separating from the herd, it began to accelerate. A chase ensued, with the zebra constantly changing direction to rejoin the herd, while the hyena continued to pursue, gradually closing in from behind. At the closing stage, the hyena intensified its attack from behind, creating constant pressure that destabilized the zebra. The collisions and grip weakened the prey, preventing it from maintaining its speed. After a short distance, the hyenas gained the upper hand, and in an open environment, maintaining formation often determines the outcome. In the savannas, woodlands, and semi-deserts of Africa, leopards are widely distributed and adaptable to a variety of environments. They often choose areas with large trees to climb and store food, avoiding other predators. With their solitary and highly efficient lifestyle, leopards maintain their advantage. However, when near the ground, pressure from other species begins to build. That pressure quickly becomes apparent when a pack of hyenas spots a leopard hunting alone in the jungle. They don't all attack at once, but spread out to surround it, constantly changing positions to maintain distance and press from multiple directions. When the leopard counterattacks, the hyena pack increases the pace of their approach, forcing it to constantly turn and unable to maintain its initial position. Under prolonged pressure, the leopard's stamina rapidly diminishes during the struggle. Despite being injured and surrounded from multiple sides, it waits for the right moment, taking advantage of a short gap to sprint away from the encirclement. The confrontation ended when the leopard left the area, with the hyena pack temporarily gaining the advantage. In a highly competitive environment, numbers often create a clear advantage over individual ability. Constant pressure is enough to change the course of events. And in such situations, survival doesn't lie in absolute victory, but in the ability to exit the confrontation at the right time. During the Great Migration in East Africa, herds of wildebeest move continuously through the rain and grass across vast grasslands, each weighing between 400 and 600 pounds. They can reach nearly 50 miles per hour and react quickly to danger. They rely on their numbers for early warning, but when the herd is dispersed, coordination diminishes and pressure builds. Instead of charging head-on, wildebeest herds spread out across the grasslands, adjusting their movement to create pressure from multiple directions. When the herd begins to become disoriented, they accelerate rhythmically, forcing their target to constantly change direction. A wildebeest that deviates from the general rhythm is kept under control, and the chase escalates. The constant pressure causes the prey to slow down and lose stability in its direction. Attempts to rejoin the herd become ineffective. After just a few seconds of struggle, the antelope was unable to move further, and the chase ended, demonstrating that losing its bearings before the formation directly determined the outcome. Impalas primarily inhabit savanna grasslands and sparse shrublands in eastern and southern Africa, particularly in Kenya, Tanzania, Namibia, and South Africa. They typically forage in open grasslands, moving near shrublands and water sources to find shelter. However, each time they descend to the water's edge to drink, impalas are vulnerable to ambushes by aquatic predators. Below the surface, crocodiles maintain their position and wait in near immobility. When an impala approaches the water's edge and lowers its guard, the crocodile suddenly lunges from underwater. The reaction is swift, but the limited range of movement prevents the prey from creating space to escape, putting it at a disadvantage. Losing its mobility advantage, the crocodile grips its target and drags it toward the water, causing the impala to lose its balance. It attempts to escape, but quickly weakens as the environment becomes unfavorable. In a short time, the prey is unable to defend itself and is trapped, demonstrating that accessing water sources always carries inherent risks. In the savannas, open forests, and hills throughout sub-Saharan Africa, baboons are widely distributed in open terrain interspersed with shrubs and cliffs. In the Serengeti, they forage in grasslands but retreat to trees or cliffs at night to avoid predators. The troops have a clear hierarchy, and when they disperse to find food, the distance between individuals gradually widens, reducing safety. In the dense bushes along the riverbank, the leopard lies low and observes the troops' movements. It doesn't charge immediately but quietly changes position, choosing an approach angle to cut off the prey's escape route. When prey passes by, it makes a short burst of speed, forcing a slow reaction and causing the troops' direction to become chaotic. The baboon tries to return to the troop and signal a warning, constantly adjusting its direction to find an escape. However, the escape route is blocked, and the distance cannot be narrowed. After only a few moments, its speed decreases significantly, and its ability to defend itself weakens. The situation ended when it was subdued and became food for the leopard. In nature, species constantly face unpredictable situations where events can change in a very short time. Speed, instinct, and observation skills determine who gains the upper hand. But the outcome doesn't always favor the stronger party. Ultimately, timing is the key factor, as even a small misstep can completely alter the course of events. On the vast savanna, wild dog attacks begin with organized silence as the pack moves low and spreads out to close the distance undetected. They read the terrain, track the prey's movements, and wait for the right moment. When the signal appears, the entire pack accelerates simultaneously, locking down the prey's escape routes and maintaining constant pressure, transitioning from stalking to attack in seconds. In the vast grasslands of East Africa, such as the Serengeti and Masai Mara, lions often live near water sources where prey congregate. During the day, they rest in the shade of trees to avoid the heat, and only begin to move to hunt at dusk, using the open space to observe and control the area. And these water sources also become places where other species are forced to approach. Near a small pool of water, a pack of wild dogs gathered when a lioness approached. Instead of retreating, they quickly changed formation, circling and applying pressure. The lioness lunged, creating space and forcing the dogs to retreat briefly, but they immediately closed in. Under constant pressure, the lioness slowed her counterattack and gradually retreated to the water's edge before withdrawing from the area. In an environment where individual strength often prevails, this encounter demonstrates the role of pack tactics, where coordination and continuous pressure can force a larger opponent to retreat. In the East African savanna, buffalo herds move between grasslands and the edges of bushland near rivers, common in Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. They need to drink water daily but do not live in swamps. And in the Serengeti, buffalo herds change their routes seasonally to find grass and water, forming familiar migration paths where they both search for food and face the risk of being tracked from afar. On the vast grasslands of Africa, packs of wild dogs, having been tracking from a distance. Observe, upon spotting a young buffalo separated from the herd near the water's edge, they simultaneously accelerate, initiating a calculated chase, forcing the prey away from their protected area and continuously applying pressure to restrict its escape route. After several rounds of pursuit, coordination and endurance gradually create a clear advantage. The prey loses the ability to return to the herd and is subdued. In open space, the outcome is determined by maintaining continuous pressure through coordinated attack and collective defense. Along the freshwater rivers, lakes, and warm swamps of Africa, Nile crocodiles often lie motionless at the water's edge to hide, using the environment to ambush prey. This provides a stable food source and is also a meeting point where many species are forced to access water daily. And this concentration makes the coastal area always vulnerable to detection. In the scorching heat of Africa, the pack of wild dogs approached, maintaining formation and observing. They didn't charge but circled, probing the crocodile's reaction and gradually forcing it out of its advantageous position, compelling it to constantly turn and face multiple directions, slowly breaking its hiding advantage. When it could no longer maintain its initial position, the crocodile responded with short, threatening turns. But its limited speed on land made it difficult to maintain distance. Under constant pressure, it was forced to retreat towards the water and escape the encirclement upon returning to its familiar environment. Under the intense sun of the East and South African savanna, wild dog packs are already present, moving along the edges of the grasslands where low bushes and water sources are nearby. This is also the environment impalas often choose to live in Kenya, Tanzania, or Botswana, where there is enough grass to eat and enough hiding places. But this balance also makes them easy to track, and the distance is gradually closing. On the grassy bank near the river, a battle for survival was brewing. The pack of wild dogs had positioned themselves, hiding behind low bushes and maintaining their distance. The moment an impala emerged from the water, a coordinated burst of speed shattered the silence, forcing the prey to react immediately. The pack maintained its formation and gradually forced the prey to follow a controlled trajectory. The impala constantly changed direction and leaped to find space. But after several rounds of pursuit, coordination and endurance gave a clear advantage, and the prey gradually found no escape. In an open environment where every movement is easily detected, this encounter demonstrated the difference between individual reflexes and collective tactics, between initial speed and sustained effort. The outcome not comes from a single moment, but from precise coordination repeated over generations. Among the low grasslands and open forest edges of sub-Saharan Africa, warthog often live near water sources and depend on earthen burrows for shelter, often those left behind by aardvarks. This environment provides both food and escape routes. But having to constantly move between feeding and hiding places increases the risk of being tracked, opening up opportunities for detection. Following those tracks, the pack of wild dogs began sniffing and circling, persistently checking each spot. Once they located the warthog, They quickly closed the circle, applying pressure from multiple sides, forcing the prey out of its hiding place and into the open, unprotected space. Dragged out of its safe position, the warthog charged at high speed, using its strength and tusks to maintain distance. But the pack of dogs took turns closing in, maintaining pressure that gradually controlled its direction of escape. And when it could no longer maintain its initial rhythm, the outcome tilted in favor of the predator. During their long migration across the Serengeti grasslands, wildebeest constantly move according to the wet and dry seasons, from the south to Masai Mara, in search of water and fresh grass. Living in areas with few large trees makes them easier to observe. But this reliance on movement causes some individuals to slow down and gradually separate from the herd, creating a dangerous gap. That gap was quickly exploited when the pack of wild dogs spotted a wildebeest separated from its herd near the river. Instead of immediately attacking, they surrounded it, forcing the prey to veer off course and run towards the water. The chase dragged on, with the dogs constantly changing positions, maintaining pressure until the prey gradually lost strength. When its strength was no longer sufficient to maintain its direction, the prey slowed down and was subdued. Ultimately, the wildebeest became a food source for the entire pack, reflecting the law of nature. Predators must hunt to survive, and prey must run to survive. In the open woodlands and near water sources of East Africa, baboons are active on the ground during the day to forage for food and climb trees or high cliffs at night to avoid predators. This constant movement between the two environments sometimes causes an individual to become separated from the group and vulnerable to being tracked, opening up opportunities for predators to observe from afar. At the edge of the foraging area, the pack of wild dogs spotted their target and, instead of approaching directly, gradually closed in and maintained their position to observe the monkey's reaction. When the monkey turned to face them and tried to keep its distance, they continuously changed their approach, distracting it and forcing it to leave its position to find an escape route. As soon as the prey began to move, the pack of dogs immediately accelerated and coordinated their pursuit, using their stamina to maintain pressure. After a period of pursuit, the distance narrowed, and when the initial pace could no longer be maintained, the outcome favored the predator. In the East African grasslands, leopards appear in a variety of environments, from savannas to rocky areas and even near human settlements. Their ability to climb trees and hide helps them hunt effectively. But this very versatility also means they often operate alone, and sometimes find themselves facing more opponents than they can handle. From beneath the canopy, the pack of wild dogs sniffed the air and moved in the opposite direction, not advancing straight ahead, but gradually closing in. When the leopard swooped down to the ground to move, they reacted immediately, dividing positions and forcing the leopard to turn away from the tree trunk, forcing it to constantly change direction in the confined space. The leopard tried to find an opening to climb back up, but the pack of dogs kept moving, maintaining pressure from multiple sides. After several evasive maneuvers, it was forced to retreat. In an environment that values individual agility, this situation shows that when at a disadvantage, a lone predator must yield to the coordination of a pack. In the harsh wilderness of Africa, where every movement can trigger an attack, lions not only hunt but also control the moment of life and death. From the tall grass to the calm water's edge, each approach is meticulously calculated, and when the distance is close enough, the attack is so swift that the prey has no time to react. These are nature's most tense moments, where strength, tactics, and instinct converge in a single beat. On the vast grasslands of East Africa, cheetahs choose open, sparsely vegetated areas with good visibility to hunt, often perched on termite mounds, observing from a distance, and striking in the early morning or late afternoon, relying on calculated speed and bursts of agility. This choice of environment gives them an advantage in acceleration, but also reveals their movement when being tracked. From the leeward side, a lion silently approaches, lowering its body and following the cheetah's trajectory, then suddenly accelerates, cutting across to close the distance before the opponent can reach maximum speed. This movement forces the cheetah to react immediately. The cheetah instantly sprints at full speed, but the short acceleration causes it to lose its balance when forced to change direction. The lion uses its weight and momentum to overwhelm it at close range, ending the encounter with the lion's victory. The outcome shows that the difference between speed and sustained power is real. In open space where vision is an advantage, even a single slow decision can change the course of events. And the ultimate advantage belongs to the one who controls the distance. In open roads and sparse forests, African elephant herds travel dozens of kilometers each day in search of water and food. When a young elephant temporarily leaves the group and heads towards the riverbank, this species relies on ample space to maintain its large herd, and it is precisely this short distance that puts it vulnerable, thus opening up an unavoidable danger. On the edge of the water's edge, a lion kept its distance, carefully observing the young elephant's movements. It didn't rush to approach. waiting until the prey entered a narrow area, then suddenly accelerated, closing in for a short chase, forcing the young elephant to react immediately. Realizing the danger, the young elephant tried to return to the herd, but the slippery ground slowed it down. The lion seized this opportunity to maintain close proximity and corner it, ultimately favoring the predator as the prey had no time to escape. Situations like this illustrate the difference between the strength of a herd and a moment of separation, where even a small misstep can alter the outcome, contributing to the natural balance. Along vast grasslands, wild buffaloes live in areas with abundant grass, near rivers, lakes, and swamps. They move in large herds, foraging during the day and heading to water's edge in the evening to drink and bathe in mud. This habit gradually leads them to areas of tall grass where predators are waiting. Hiding near the edge of the grassland, a lion patiently watches the herd of buffalo, waiting for the moment the entire herd moves through a narrow area before suddenly pouncing and causing chaos, forcing a young buffalo to separate from the group, and that very moment puts the prey in a confrontation. As soon as separated, the buffalo turns to confront the lion, but the distance has narrowed. The lion uses its weight and momentum to overwhelm it, resulting in a short, tense struggle, and ultimately, victory goes to the predator. Such hunts are not just individual competitions, they contribute to maintaining the natural order, where numbers, strength, and timing are intertwined, thus keeping the ecosystem functioning in a stable cycle. In the African savanna near a water source, a white rhinoceros moves slowly, its body weighing thousands of pounds, and its skin nearly 2 inches thick to withstand impacts. This species usually chooses open grasslands for easy observation. While black rhinos live in dense bushes for concealment, its presence in open spaces makes it more easily spotted, and also puts it within the sights of a lurking predator. In the tall grass, a lion lowers its body, circles with the wind, and locks onto its target, a young rhino, then suddenly accelerates to take advantage of the brief moment when the distance is close enough. And that movement forces the mother rhino to react immediately. The mother rhino instantly turns to shield her young, maintaining distance and constantly shifting positions to prevent the lion from getting close. After several attempts, the predator stops and retreats. And it is these encounters that contribute to the natural balance between predator and prey, where every decision affects the stability of the entire ecosystem. in rivers and swamps, where hippos spend most of their time submerged in deep water to stay cool and avoid the sun. A hippo leaving the water and moving on to the grassy bank to forage is a species dependent on water during the day and grassy areas at night. And it is this movement between the two environments that makes it vulnerable to being tracked during the transitional moment. A group of lions silently formed their ranks. They didn't rush to attack, but observed the hippo's movements, then suddenly approached from multiple directions, creating continuous pressure to force the prey out of its advantageous position. This relentless pressure forced the hippo to make a choice. The hippo immediately turned and sprinted back towards the river, using its weight and familiar path to break through the encirclement. The lions tried to follow, but gradually lost momentum. The distance widened, and the outcome ultimately favored the hippo as it managed to reach safe waters. This situation illustrates how large species often avoid direct confrontation through different lifestyles. The hippo maintains its watery territory, while the lions operate on the shore, and this separation reduces conflict, maintaining a stable environment in the most natural way. Amidst dense bushes and rocky hills, where large trees provide climbing opportunities and prey trails are close to water sources, leopards adapt remarkably. Unlike the African lynx, which relies on tall grass for cover, it uses elevated terrain to conceal prey and observe, often solitary. It leaves its safe haven to move, and this makes it vulnerable to being tracked over short distances. Along the edge of the sparse forest, a lioness moved slowly, keeping track of the wind, observing the moment the leopard left the tree trunk, then suddenly lunging out to cut across its path, creating pressure in the narrow space, and that cornering maneuver forced the leopard to choose between climbing a tree or escaping. The leopard immediately accelerated to find a place to climb, but the distance had shortened. The lioness maintained her momentum, closing in and blocking the leopard's approach to the tree trunk. The struggle was brief, and the final outcome favored the lioness, as the leopard did not have time to reach a safe position. This encounter highlights how predators are forced to adjust their behavior when coexisting, where each species gradually occupies its own time and territory to avoid direct conflict. This separation helps the ecosystem function stably without excessive competition. In sparsely vegetated areas and open forest edges, where acacia trees are scattered and water sources vary seasonally, giraffes choose environments that are just open enough for observation, but tall enough for foraging. Unlike zebras, which often prefer open grasslands to move in large herds, giraffes avoid areas that are too dense or too open. And this balance is why they are often found in areas where they are easily tracked. Amidst the low grass, a group of lions dispersed their formation and lowered their bodies. Instead of targeting the adults, they patiently approached the cubs, then suddenly accelerated from multiple directions, creating continuous pressure. Avoid areas that are... This coordinated action forced the prey into an isolated position. Separated from its mother, the cub became disoriented and constantly changed direction. The lions maintained their distance and gradually tightened their encirclement. The outcome sealed when the prey could no longer maintain its speed. This hunt demonstrates the importance of group tactics when facing large prey, where maintaining constant pressure is more crucial than individual strength. In reality, this kind of organization allows predators to capitalize on fleeting opportunities. On the African savanna, hyenas don't rush in a chaotic frenzy. They observe, wait, and attack when the rhythm of movement begins to become disordered. In that moment, the attack doesn't erupt immediately, but rather builds up pressure, closing the gap until there's no escape. That's when the situation changes, and what seemed controllable quickly becomes one of the hyena's most terrifying attacks. Can anyone truly escape in time? In the vast grasslands of Africa, white rhinos live near water sources, such as rivers and swamps, where they can easily find low grass. Each individual usually lives alone in their own territory. They have poor eyesight, but very sensitive noses and hearing, which help them detect danger from afar. However, this focus on their surroundings allows them to silently approach any movement. It was this gap in perception that created an opportunity for the predator. At the edge of the bush, a pack of hyenas moved in an arc, not attacking directly but constantly changing positions to apply pressure, forcing the rhino to turn defensively, gradually losing control of its direction and being cornered into an inescapable situation. As space narrowed, the hyena pack tightened the distance and maintained constant pressure, slowing the rhino down and preventing it from breaking through the encirclement. The outcome was sealed when the predator gained the upper hand through coordination and endurance, leaving no chance of escape. Along the vast grasslands of sub-Saharan Africa, wild dogs survive in open spaces large enough to observe and pursue, relying on endurance and coordination to hunt relentlessly. Not the fastest, but able to chase for a long time. And once they have control of their prey, they believe that numbers give them an advantage, until gaps begin to appear in their formation. From that gap, a lone hyena begins to approach from the edge of the water source, not rushing to catch the pack but waiting for them to disperse after eating, then gradually applying controlled pressure, forcing a few individuals to leave their positions and widening the distance between them. The accumulated pressure weakens coordination. The hyena takes advantage of the moment it gets closest to its target, maintaining the initiative so that the opponent cannot react as a group. and the outcome is sealed when the persistent predator regains control, leaving no chance to regain the advantage. Once collective strength crumbles, the advantage is no longer maintained. And in that situation, continuous pressure and persistence will gradually weaken the opponent, until ultimately, the one who maintains the initiative will be the one left with the advantage. Hidden in the bushes, the leopard is compact but very strong, able to drag prey heavier than its own body up trees to avoid being robbed, hunting by silently approaching and then launching a precise pounce. And once it has its prey, it believes its current position is safe enough, but a threat is emerging. At the edge of the field of vision, a hyena, having been watching beforehand, waited for the moment the leopard moved away from its advantageous position, then suddenly accelerated, relentlessly closing in, continuously pressuring it to turn around to protect its prey, and gradually lose control of the situation. The close-range approach was complete, the hyena maintaining its pace, forcing the leopard to retreat, and the outcome was sealed when the opportunistic predator seized the reward, leaving no possibility of retaining the prize. The advantage vanished. Not the best hunter would retain the spoils. In a direct confrontation, constant pressure and persistence erode the opponent's options, and ultimately, the more persistent one would be left with the reward. In East Africa, on low grasslands and semi-arid regions, wildebeest survive by migrating with the monsoon to find tender grass. Each individual weighs around 600 pounds and travels in herds of hundreds of thousands, where safety comes from numbers rather than strength. When the herd accelerates to nearly 50 miles per hour, predators have difficulty targeting unless an individual slows down and breaks away from the flow. The moment of separation was immediately exploited. From the edge of the savanna, a spotted hyena, having been watching beforehand, maintained its distance, lowered its body, waited for the right moment, and then suddenly accelerated, forcing the antelope to change direction repeatedly and drawing it into an unavoidable chase. The pursuit ended quickly when the hyena maintained a steady pace, gradually closing the gap. The antelope lost the ability to rejoin the herd, and the outcome was decided when the predator gained the upper hand, thanks to its endurance and precise timing. On the vast savanna, this pattern repeats every day. The majority provides initial protection, but even a small misstep can change everything. And ultimately, the one who waits the right moment will be the one left. In vast grasslands, zebras rely on the strength of their hind legs for self-defense, each kick capable of inflicting serious injury. They move in large herds with lightning-fast reflexes, and when danger arises, their black and white stripes make them difficult for predators to identify. But even a single individual's slowness can quickly break through their safe distance. The moment the zebra's movement faltered, the hyenas began pressing from multiple directions, constantly shifting positions to push the prey out of the line of travel, then accelerating to close in, forcing the zebra to fight back while running, gradually diminishing its control. The situation quickly turned unfavorable as the hyenas maintained steady pressure, preventing the zebra from rejoining the pack, and the outcome was sealed when the predator gained the upper hand, leaving no chance of escape. In arid lands with limited visibility, cheetahs survive thanks to their ability to accelerate in open spaces, finishing hunts quickly, and despite being the fastest species, they rarely hold on to their prey for long due to avoiding conflict with others, which gradually creates moments where they are vulnerable. At the edge of the resting area, 2 leopards, having just finished their meal, were recovering when a pack of hyenas appeared. They fanned out in multiple directions, gradually closing in on the space and closing in at a steady pace, forcing the leopards to leave their advantageous position and expose their prey to increasing pressure. The situation quickly tilted to the leopards' disadvantage as the constant pressure caused them to lose their distance. Their reaction time slowed, and they were unable to protect their meal. The encirclement closed, and the outcome was sealed when the opportunistic predator gained control, leaving them unable to retain their prey. Once the advantage of speed is no longer effective, species relying on short bursts of speed will gradually lose control of the situation. And at that point, the one that maintains more sustained pressure will be the last one standing. In the African savanna, lions live in well-defined prides, with females hunting and males defending their territory. They possess a powerful bite and superior muscles, stalking and coordinating attacks at close range. Even with many hours of rest each day, they remain ready for short bursts of aggression. But this advantage diminishes when an individual is separated from support. On a trail near the edge of the forest, a lone lioness, after a failed hunt, slowed down. From a distance, the hyena pack, recognizing their opportunity, gradually closed the circle in sync with the prey's movements, then accelerated, applying pressure from multiple directions, rapidly closing the distance. The relentless pressure forced the lioness to constantly change direction, her breathing and gait becoming erratic, no longer able to maintain her distance. By the time she turned to find an escape route, the encirclement was complete, and the outcome was sealed. The hyena pack, superior in numbers and coordination, had no chance of turning the tide. Unlike many other herbivores, buffalo are always on alert, living in large, well-coordinated herds. Adults stand on the outer perimeter to protect while the young are in the center. And when danger arises, they don't just run away but are ready to turn back and confront it. This creates a strong defense system, but it can also be broken when the formation becomes disorganized. When gaps appear in the formation, the hyenas quickly seize the opportunity, moving from multiple directions and applying controlled pressure, forcing the buffalo herd to disperse. They then accelerate, targeting a young buffalo that strays from the protective circle, drawing it into a tense chase and gradually pushing it further away from support. As the distance between them widens, the hyenas maintain their pursuit and constantly change positions, preventing the young buffalo from turning back. The outcome is sealed when the predator gains the upper hand, leaving no chance of escape. And when the formation is broken, even a species with strong counter-attacking abilities cannot hold all its members, and in that moment, the more persistent one will be left. Snakes are often considered silent, precise, and dangerous predators. But in nature, not every attack follows the familiar script. There are moments when snakes choose the wrong opponent, and their survival instincts lead to completely unexpected outcomes. These are the craziest moments, when snakes attack the wrong animal, one that is not as easily subdued as it appears. Snakes have been present on Earth for a very long time, silently slithering through the changes of time. They live in deserts, forests, and swamps, blending into the landscape with almost no trace. Silence is not only a way of survival, but also an identity of this species. There are more than 3,000 species of snakes in the world, with about 50 species living in North America. Their bodies lack legs, but consist of more than 200 flexible bone segments, allowing snakes to move efficiently across various terrains. Whether over 10 feet long or weighing only a few ounces, all have evolved to conserve energy and sustain life. Snakes sense the world through vibrations and temperature, able to detect changes of just a few degrees Fahrenheit in the dark. They don't seek conflict, but are always ready to react when cornered. In the natural order, snakes exist silently but persistently, reminding us that the greatest strength sometimes lies in the ability to adapt and patiently survive. The mother hen stood beside her chicks, her demeanor normal and familiar. She wasn't calculating life or death, nor weighing the risks. When danger arose, her instinct to protect her offspring immediately kicked in, pushing aside any hesitation. The snake approached habitually, maintaining distance to prepare for its attack. But the mother hen didn't flee. She lunged forward, directly attacking the snake's head, striking before it could establish an advantage. Losing its attacking distance and facing an opponent devoid of fear, the snake was forced to retreat. The encounter ended quickly. For snakes, fearless prey is always the greatest risk in nature. Honey badgers appear silently in the African savanna with their low, sturdy bodies and calm gait. Weighing only about 20 to 30 pounds, this small animal is renowned for its tenacity, ready to confront lions, leopards, or hyenas. This confidence comes from a body designed for confrontation. Their skin, about 6 to 7 millimeters thick and remarkably loose, allows the honey badger to twist and counterattack even when bitten. Sharp teeth and strong claws make any confrontation risky. Even snake venom isn't always the end, as the honey badger can temporarily incapacitate it, only to recover after a few hours. When the snake lunges, the attack is quick and precise. But the familiar advantage quickly disappears. The honey badger stands firm, reacting fiercely, forcing the snake to retreat. The confrontation ends quickly. Honey badgers don't hunt snakes out of hunger, but out of instinct to utilize any available food source. In nature, the victor isn't always the one who strikes first, but the one who refuses to surrender. The eagle appeared high above, silently gliding through the open air. Its long wings spread wide, its sharp eyes able to observe the ground from hundreds of feet away. Without rushing, the eagle patiently waited, its greatest advantage lying in its height and vision. Below, the snake sensed the vibration and raised its head in vigilance. As the eagle lowered its altitude, the snake instinctively reacted, launching a desperate attack. But the blow missed its target. The three-dimensional space negated the snake's familiar advantage. The eagle dodged the attack in an instant, then extended its powerful talons to seize its prey. From above, power came from speed and gravity, not from a prolonged struggle. The confrontation ended quickly, before the snake could adapt. The ants appeared calmly on the ground, so small they were easily overlooked. But when connected as a colony, they became an organized force, moving to a common signal and reacting almost simultaneously. Ants don't need individual strength. Their strength lies in sheer numbers and coordination. The snake slithered into the area and reacted instinctively. But this time, all advantages were gone. The snake had no strategy against a swarm. The ants approached simultaneously at multiple points on its body, creating a burning, numbing, and confusing sensation, causing the snake to lose control of its movements. The ants didn't need to knock down their opponent. They only needed to make it impossible for the snake to stay. Under the spreading pressure, the snake gradually retreated, hastily leaving the area. The encounter ended quietly. It was a victory without a finish. In nature, sometimes survival is decided not by the final blow, but by the ability to force the opponent to give up. The mongoose appears with its compact, low-slung body and constantly tense gaze. It's not large, not overwhelming, but renowned for its ability to confront venomous snakes. The mongoose isn't completely immune to venom, but its body reacts differently. The venom has difficulty binding to nerve receptors, preventing an immediate effect. The encounter begins in silence. The snake coils, raises its head, and delivers its familiar attack. The mongoose doesn't charge straight ahead. It moves sideways, forcing the strike to miss its target, constantly disrupting the rhythm of its blows. Even when slightly affected by the venom, the paralysis lasts long enough for the mongoose to maintain control. In the decisive moment, the mongoose counterattacks decisively, focusing solely on the head. Without its head, the snake loses all advantage. Recognizing the increased risk, the snake chooses to retreat. The mongoose doesn't pursue relentlessly. The confrontation ended clearly. This wasn't a tactical defeat, but a matter of practical survival. In nature, victory sometimes simply means knowing when to stop in order to continue to survive. The owl appears as the last light of day fades. Its broad wings glide through the air almost silently. In the darkness, the owl's large eyes pick up every slightest movement on the ground. Night is its territory. The snake coils itself among the dry leaves, relying on its familiar sense of vibration. But in the deep darkness, its reflexes are slower. When the owl swoops down, the movement is swift and precise. There is no warning, no time to prepare for a counterattack. The snake manages to raise its head, reacting instinctively, but it is too late. The owl locks onto its head or spine with its sharp talons. The encounter is short-lived. The snake's advantage vanishes in an instant. This is not a fight. This is a biological execution. In nature, when the night belongs to the other, survival is decided in a matter of seconds. These moments show that nature doesn't operate according to a fixed pattern. Power doesn't always belong to the one who carries the venom or strikes first. Sometimes, just a reflex, a different strategy, or pure instinct is enough to reverse the situation. In the wild, choosing the wrong opponent is always the most costly lesson.